This video is about making replica Sim de Kehoe Indian Clubs. I was inspired to make the replica clubs after seeing a video Izzy Barish made about a year ago where he shared some of the club's history on YouTube. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Izzy Barish for all his efforts in measuring the Kehoe Club, to Mike Simpson for giving me some invaluable tips on making clubs, and to Joe Clark for his craftsmanship and wood turning skills. I found two sections of a hardwood timber called jarrah. Each section weighed 23 kilograms. The first job was to remove the excess wood with a chainsaw in preparation for turning on a lathe. We drew out the club shape onto the wood and started cutting. Here you can see the handle of the club taking shape. As you can see, all four sides needed trimming, followed by the base of the club. Then each corner was chamfered to further reduce the bulk on a bench saw. Logic dictates that there would be a weight loss due to the shaping and turning of these clubs. With a starting weight of 23 kilograms, the question arose in guessing what the final weight would be. My estimate was 10 kilograms, which was a way out. The clubs weighed in at 7 kilos each when they were finished. That was a total weight loss of 16 kilograms per section. Here you have a good view of the club being tapered off towards the base, the true silhouette of the club slowly coming to life. Finally, the corner excess was trimmed on a bench saw, chamfering the corners in final preparation for turning. The roughly cut section is now loaded into the lathe. I was surprised how long it took shaping the club body. The wood appeared smooth when the lathe was turning, and still very rough when the lathe was stopped. It was almost like a last-ditch protest before giving in. As you can see, the process is long and arduous, with the chisel slowly moving along the revolving wood, dust and splintering wood particles flying in all directions. The process continues, moving up the handle of the club. Notice how rough the wood is when the lathe is stopped. The shape of the club is becoming more apparent, and the sound of the chisel is less aggressive because the roughness has been removed. As I explained earlier, when I received the dimensions of the club, I drafted a template that would be used as a guide to shape the club. Using calipers, we start to mark out the true shape of the club body, taking the measurements from the template.
That is 183, so I can now go down a touch more. And what I do, I mark that so that I can't take that off. here.
The lowest point of each of these cuts represents the final shape of the club according to the template. Bear in mind that each cut is at a different height. Then each area in between the cuts is rounded and leveled to create the outer body shape of the club. Oh no, hang on, it's on the outside, Joe. Yeah. If you look to the right, you can see that the surface has become very smooth and round, the club becoming even more visible. You can also see a crack appearing in the body of the club, which will be filled in later with an epoxy glue. Now the depth markings are being applied to the neck and handle of the club for the final shaping to take place.
As I do this 60.
Now the neck of the club is being machined down to the levels taken from the template, completing the shape of the club body.
Here you've got a convex cave, and there you've got concave.
Concave, yeah. The wood on the handle has split on the lathe. According to Joe, this is a common problem with Jarrah. As the tree grows older, it gains in its circumference. The new outer growth pressurizes the older inner core as it grows around it. There is no room to move, and the ever-expanding inner core is caught in a time warp. In the current situation, as we gradually remove the outer layers, pressure is released and the inner core splits. This problem is prevalent in woods belonging to the gum family. The split is filled with epoxy glue. This turns out to be a labor of love as endless amounts of epoxy are fed into the hole. At this point we call it a day and leave the epoxy to set overnight. The following day, the gluing is checked before machining starts. The two rings on the lower body of the club are now being positioned to match the original detailed feature on the Kehoe club. You are about to witness the shaping of the button. I have kept this section in one piece to show the absolute artistry displayed in creating the ball at the end of the club, which is such an important part of Indian club swinging in aiding the control of a club through its exercise movements. It is the ball of the socket created by your hand.
What I've got to do, I can't understand that shape. The other one is a little bit, but nothing like this one.
Even though the earlier split was repaired, the template dictated that the handle had to be machined further, and subsequently a new split appeared overlapping the first one. The solution was simple. More epoxy was fed into the opening and then left to cure overnight.
I can't leave that open now.
Yeah,
Because it's stuck.
you just got to force it in there. Now the sanding begins to clean up the surface of the club in preparation for varnishing. Here we have a very clear view of the new split.
Here we go.
There are 10 more rings being machined into the handle in a continuing effort to reproduce the replica club. These rings have proved to be a great asset in the subsequent swinging of these clubs as they provide traction and prevent slippage from sweaty palms. Here we have final visual comparisons made to check that the profiles of both handles are the same.
It's going to come out more there, out and over.
This club is waiting for epoxy glue to dry, then final sanding and varnishing.